Now, youth unemployment is at an all-time high in the country. Getting a tertiary qualification improves your chances of getting a job, and government is urging the youth to consider TVET Colleges. But with the shambles at NSFAS and changes to funding models, what does this mean then for students? Our ENCA reporter Hloni Mtimikulu is finding out and joins us now to give us more regarding this issue and matter. Hloni, a very warm good morning to you. It seems that, young people and particularly students at loggerheads right now, on the other hand, they're being told that education is the key to success. They're trying to attain that education, albeit without the funding. NSFAS has its issues. It seems like those are some of the challenges that are being faced by students and the youth.
Yeah, that's right, Dumelo. So as you said, youth are meant to have this additional option away from your traditional tertiary institutions that they can opt into just to get themselves or give themselves a chance in life, after matric, and even some of them not even from matric level. And yet it seems there are challenges around this. So we are at the TVET Curriculum and Innovation Summit, which is a summit or a conference over a few days that is meant to look at where things are in terms of TVET colleges and then try and find a way forward or map a way forward. Of course, TVET institutions in 2021 were 50. There were 50 institutions in 2021 out of the 342 post-school education and training systems that were available in the country. But Dumelo, just to give you a scary figure, that of the students that were part of the TVET institutions in 2021, there was only a pass rate of 47% for N3, and then up to N6 there was a pass rate of about 62%. So you can see that even if youth have this opportunity to try and upskill themselves following regular school, that it's not quite working out because you're still having that pass rate that's 50-60%. So what about the other 40% that isn't making it through? And of course, as you mentioned, that the issues around NSFAS is a new funding model that is meant to target those who had been previously not funded or who had been rejected. And then you've got the issues around the administration of NSFAS. So you have all of these institutions, but just in terms of the running of them, the buy-in in terms of them, and also just the funding, who will be funding all of these students, we're not sure. Hopefully the Minister of Higher Education and Training, Mr. Nzimande, is meant to address the sitting of this Innovation and Curriculum Summit. Maybe he will have a few answers in terms of what is supposed to happen to learners or students and the youth who don't fall into the normal catchment areas, who want to be part of TVET institutions, who will hope that NSFAS will be able to fund their schooling, but also that they will be able to actually complete what they start, so that they have a skill with them, so that the youth unemployment that we know is extraordinarily high will also be addressed as well at Dumelo.
Yeah, absolutely, Hloni. And also, what I suppose most would like to hear from the minister as well is how they're planning on dealing with protests. It's almost as if every year, Hloni, around January, February, we see protest marches, either from the SRC members themselves or students marching against no access to funding, being financially included by the institutions. But also this year around, we've seen just even recently protests continue in other institutions around, obviously, the NSFAS issues that have been headlining, our media agencies at large. So protests definitely hoping to be on the agenda, at least in as far as the address by Minister.
Yeah, Dumelo, we've covered extensively the protests in TUT around student funding, and you have to wonder, with this new model that has been brought into place, how it is all going to work, how those that had been rejected previously and will now be brought into the qualifying criteria for NSFAS, where that money is going to come from, if there have been all these issues over the years. I remember 15, 20 years ago, these things were happening, and they're still happening now, so it's not something that is just starting to happen now. I think we talk a lot about fees must fall, but this has been happening even way before that, and there just doesn't seem to be a solution to that. And the second semester is on, but you've got January, February coming up next year. You've got matriculants that will be writing now. What's going to happen to them next year? What exactly is a permanent solution to these sorts of things that we keep seeing every year? Now every every 6 months, because you're getting these protests happening now every semester, not even every year as they used to happen. So hopefully the minister, he should be addressing the summit now at 9:45. So hopefully he will have some answers or some solutions, just some sort of way forward, just in terms of where things are at the moment and what they hope the summit will do. I know it's also about the curriculum itself, so what the learners are actually learning as well. How is it adapting? I heard briefly an address by the DG who was saying that they want to see if things like climate change, they are able to adapt to things like that, and just other things that have to do with the summit. So they've been around for a while, but how do they move things forward, and how do they keep up with the trends, Dumela, and how things are moving? So hopefully some of that will be addressed, and we can find a way forward, moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely, Hloni, and we'll be keeping a close eye on that address by the minister, because long-term sustainable solutions and interventions, I think at this point, are needed by the minister at an urgent rate. Thank you so much, colleague. We'll leave it at that. Hloni Mtimikulu on for us, of course, where Minister Blade Nzimande expected to take to the podium and give an address regarding TVET colleges, the opportunities that are available for young people seeking funding for education, but also what are they doing with some of these challenges out at NSFAS, the protest marches that we've been covering quite extensively right here on ENCA, so that there is access to quality education for all young people in South Africa. Hloni Mtimikulu out for us on that story.